Could I call to the stage, please, Ken Baerg and Ryan Bruce. Ken is from Canada Works and Ryan is from CLAC.
Very good. Thanks very much to ResourceWorks for the opportunity to be part of this leading and cutting-edge discussion, and also congratulations to the province and everybody that was involved in the passage of Bill 41, an historic event, no doubt. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. My name is Ken Baerg. I'm the Executive Director with Canada Works, and to my left is Ryan Bruce with CLAC, the Director of Government Affairs. And Canada Works is a coalition of progressive labor unions with about 60,000 members working across Canada in various industries, manufacturing, healthcare, service sector, but the majority of our members, the employees, work in the resource economy and the industrial construction sector, and are present on almost all major infrastructure and resource development projects across Canada, and particularly in British Columbia. You'll notice I use the phrase progressive union, and it's a fair question to ask how those two terms go together, progressive and union. I've been asked that a few times. Is that an oxymoron, like a militant pacifist or an open secret? The reality is that all unions work underneath the same legislative framework. They all seek to represent workers and to negotiate collective agreements, but it's really the spirit in which that's done that makes all the difference. The spirit of the relationship is really the key ingredient there. So the progressive union movement, much like UNDRIP, is committed to certain principles, very important values, and not just giving lip service to those values, but actually implementing those important values on the ground. Some of those values are inclusivity and freedom of choice. So we would say every worker should be able to participate in the British Columbia economy regardless of whether or not they belong to a union, and if they do belong to a union, regardless of which union they choose to belong to. Another critical value is the dignity of all people. So whether you're a CEO of a company or a laborer on the front lines, the dignity of all humans is something that we hold as a very high value. Cooperation. Fundamentally, we believe that unions and their members advance their interests when they actually seek to have a positive relationship with management as opposed to an adversarial relationship. Progressive unions seek to build opportunity, lasting opportunity and meaningful engagement for the people that they represent. In the progressive union movement, like I said, there's significant parallels between our values and the values that are contemplated in the UNDRIP legislation, and we think we are uniquely positioned to be part of that conversation going forward. And again, the goals being meaningful engagement and opportunity. As it's been said earlier from this stage, it's not just about jobs, it's about careers and ongoing opportunity. So Ryan Bruce is actively involved in the progressive union movement, both at a public policy level and on the ground, and he's had firsthand experience in this space. So Ryan, in preparation for this discussion, you and I chatted a little bit about some of the stories, the experiences that we've been part of, that you've been part of, both the success stories, and yes, we've been asked to share some success stories, but also the challenges. And we all know that we're working around the edges, and now there's a call upon us to get to the core matters and to actually create systemic change. So Ryan, tell us a little bit about some of those changes on the ground.
I'm first of all, I'm honored to be here and to be able to share with you some of my experiences and observations in my role working for CLAC. I guess my observations and experiences probably date back a lot earlier in my life than just with my time with CLAC. And really when I think about my early days in elementary school and high school, and the Indigenous students in my class, year after year, fewer and fewer of my classmates came back the next year. And I grew up on Vancouver Island in a small town, Crofton, near the Penellicut Nation. I actually spent a lot of time with friends on the reserve there, and that was something that I experienced, and you know, at that time in my life, perhaps wasn't totally fully aware of the realities of life at home for many of my classmates. Now fast forward to my experience at the CLAC, we've embarked upon training opportunities around some of the largest projects in the province, with nations in the regions where these projects are being built, specifically in this case the Soto Nation, along in partnership with Peace River Hydro Partners, who are working up on Site C, whose members we represent. And we took and listened to the advice of all who were involved around removing barriers to access to work, and there's plenty of work around getting driver's licenses and learning life skills, and so we took it upon ourselves to we developed a system of what we called our virtual classroom training system, and what was talked about was that removing young Indigenous folks from their community and taking them somewhere to go get trained is going to create a lot of challenges. It's going to remove them from the supports they have at home and the resources and the family and their culture. And so if you could deliver training to community, that would be a benefit. And so we partnered with, in this case, Thompson Rivers University, and we went ahead and delivered the construction craft worker program into the Soto community for about 12 or so young men from the Soto Nation. We had supports working with them on a daily basis as they went through the theory. We had the trainer go up there to learn the practical elements of the lessons and the trades that they were learning. And we had a commitment by our signatory, Peace River Hydro Partner, to hire all 12 of these students as they finished their first year of the program. And we had an amazing graduation ceremony up in the community center at the Soto Nation. The students, with all their families in attendance, one by one, walked across up to the stage and got their certificate, walked across the stage and was handed a hard hat and a busy vest with a promise of a job and the beginning of a career. And this was a huge celebration for us, for the community, for BC Hydro, for Peace River Hydro Partners, and we celebrated it in that. And the problem was, in that moment we didn't realize it, but fast forward 6 months to a year later, and only just a couple of those graduates continued to remain employed on that project. And we realized that we had done a lot of great things. We put all of our effort and resources into developing the program and finding the candidates and getting them the life skills. But what we missed, and I think is an important part of the conversation, it's not just an important part, it's an integral part of the conversation, and it's the healing that's required as a result of the trauma, the generational trauma from residential schools. And I think any commitment of a job or a career without talking about how to navigate and how to offer true and meaningful healing from those traumas is not a commitment at all. And so I share that with you. Our success in that is the learning from that experience and going forward on other projects, working individually with the nations, with our signatories, with proponents. It's our goal to continue to offer that support for our members on these projects and offer that true and meaningful healing.
And I think that just goes to underscore that there is systemic change that needs to happen, and that happens on a legislative level, and we're all applauding the advances with Bill 41. And there's the relational level, the restoration, the healing that has to take place, which is often personal and communal, and it's so important. So thanks for sharing that story, not just underscoring a success, but also identifying challenges. And I guess our challenge is to walk around that Indigenous tree and become very familiar with all of the nuances of the challenges and to be part of the restoration. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.